Our today's topic is tropical cyclone. So what is the meaning of this? If you evaluate the term tropical and cyclone, then all of you can easily understand that tropical is related with tropical regions. And we already heard the term tropical regions, right? What does it mean? It simply means the area in between Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. The cyclones originated in between these two lines are the tropical cyclones. So here in the northern hemisphere, we are having Tropic of Cancer, this is 23.5 north, and in the southern hemisphere, we are having Tropic of Capricorn, this is 23.5 south, latitudinal line. Now the entire region from this Tropic of Cancer up to Tropic of Capricorn comes under tropical region. And the cyclones originated in this tropical regions are the tropical cyclones. Okay. Now we get an idea about tropical region. Now what about the term cyclone? The term cyclone came from a Greek word, which means moving in a circle. So when a specific object is continuously moving in a circular pattern, then this kind of object's movement is related with the term cyclone according to Greek language. So what is the mechanism of tropical cyclone? In this tropical cyclone, we are having a constant low pressure center. That means in the central part, we are having a low pressure. That means very high temperature. And outside, we are having a high pressure belt. High pressure means very low temperature. There is a constant wind flow from this high pressure region to low pressure region. Also, you can say from outward to inward, but from high pressure to low pressure. Why? Just take an example here. Consider this one as a hilly region or mountainous region. Then we have steep hill slope, then gentle hill slope, then after a certain point we are having a plain region. Consider one river channel over the top of this hill or mountainous region. Then what do you think? What should be the direction of this water flow? From this higher altitude region towards this lower altitude region in such a way? Isn't it? The same case is here. For any kind of climatic condition, the wind is continuously moving from high pressure to low pressure region. Around the central low pressure, why central low pressure? Because in the central part, we are having low pressure system. Winds moving in a circle. Around the central low pressure, winds moving from this high pressure region in a circular pattern. That's why this kind of atmospheric phenomenon is related with the term cyclone. Now we are having some important spatial names for this tropical cyclones across the whole world. This is also known as hurricane in the North Atlantic and Northeastern Pacific, mainly in the Caribbean Sea and southeastern part of USA. It is known as typhoons in North and Northwestern Pacific, mainly in the China Sea and Southeast Asia, as Taifu in Japan, Bagui in Philippines, and tornado in US. Cyclone is another important name of this tropical cyclone in Bangladesh and coastal areas of India. Wili Wili is also important as a tropical cyclone in parts of northern Australia. Now we will discuss about the characteristics of these tropical cyclones. First one, we have the formation. Warm and moist air is important. That's why large sea or ocean surface with the temperature above 27 degrees C or at least 26 degrees centigrade is important for the formation of any kind of tropical cyclones. So warm and moist air is important for the formation. Okay. So in which season this kind of climatic condition is available? During the summer season. So very simple. During the summer season, we are having the maximum amount of tropical cyclone. Now, what about the pressure or air pressure? We already know that in our tropical cyclone, we are having a constant low pressure center. That means high temperature. And outside, we are having a high pressure region. So at center, we are having at least 965 MB air pressure. And outside, we are having 1020 MB air pressure. So this is the condition of air pressure for any kind of tropical cyclone. Now these are the approximate values. This may vary from region to region or cyclone to cyclone. The mostly affected areas are the coastal areas. Why coastal areas? Because we already know that warm and moist air is important. That's why over large ocean and sea surface, we are having the maximum dominance of tropical cyclone. That's why the coastal region is very much near of the sea region or ocean surface. That's why the effectiveness of this tropical cyclone is maximum in this coastal part. And because of maximum moisture content of air, these regions or mainly coastal regions are getting maximum amount of rainfall during the tropical cyclone. But when the cyclonic wind is continuously moving from the coastal region towards the inland of any kind of subcontinent, the effectiveness of this tropical cyclone and also the rainfall quantity, both of this starts diminishing. Under diameter of tropical cyclone, we are having at least 80 to 300 kilometer on average. So what is the meaning of diameter? In each and every circle, we are having a center point. Okay. With the help of this central point, when we are drawing a simple line, okay, from this edge to this edge, this simple line is known as diameter. In Bengali term, this diameter is known as bash. With the help of this diameter, we are getting two equal halves of the same circle. So for tropical cyclone, the diameter is 80 to 300 kilometers, or you can say the area coverage of tropical cyclone is approximately 80 to 300 kilometers. In tropical cyclones, we are having a different wind speed for weak cyclones and rapid cyclones. For weak cyclones, we are having 32 km per hour, and for rapid cyclones like hurricanes, typhoons and other kind of tropical cyclones, these are 180 km per hour. Next, we will discuss about the patterns of isobars. But what is the meaning of isobar? If you break the whole word isobar into two parts, then you will get iso and bar. In such a way, you can get the idea very clearly. Where iso simply means equal and bar is a metric unit of pressure. So with the help of this isobar or with the help of this particular line, we are joining the spaces or regions of equal pressure. Let's say here we are having 5 points, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Okay. In this all points, we are having, let's say, 670 MB air pressure. So the air pressure is same for all of this point. Now, if we can join this all points together in such a way, then we will get the line of isobar. So isobar simply means the line of equal pressure. Okay. So here in the tropical cyclone, we are having several patterns of isobars. For weak and stationary cyclone, we are having nearly circular or concentric ring type pattern, and for rapid cyclone, we are having elliptical or pear-shaped pattern. But what is the meaning of stationary cyclone? Just consider your location. If after origination, a particular cyclone is constantly stable over a specific location for several days, then this kind of cyclonic pattern is simply known as stationary cyclone. For this weak and stationary cyclone, we are having nearly circular or concentric ring type patterns of isobar. Now, what is the meaning of concentric ring? Concentric ring simply means each and every circle we are having a center. We already know that, isn't it? So with the help of this same center, when we are having several circles on the basis of their different diameters, then this kind of circular pattern is simply known as the concentric ring or concentric circles. And for the rapid cyclones, we are having an elliptical or pear-shaped pattern. What is ellipse? The earth-like shape, or you can say oval shape. All of us know that. And pear-shaped pattern, pear simply a type of fruit. A pear-shaped pattern means this kind of pattern. So for rapid cyclone, we are having an elliptical or pear-shaped pattern of isobar. Another important factor or characteristics of this tropical cyclone is the Coriolis force. This Coriolis force is very important for the formation of any kind of tropical cyclone. Now, what is Coriolis force and the details about this Coriolis force we will discuss later on. Now we have some most active regions for this tropical cyclones. First one, here is Northwestern Pacific and then Northeastern Pacific. Here all of you can see this is the location Northwestern and Northeastern Pacific. Northwestern Pacific, the adjacent location are Southeast Asia, and in the western part we are having Europe. Okay, and Northeastern Pacific Ocean, the adjacent regions are North America and South America. In these regions we are having the maximum dominance of tropical cyclones. But why? What is the reason behind that? Because of its northward equatorial location. Okay, here all of you can see this is the location of equator, and this two region, Northwest Pacific and Northeast Pacific, these two regions are very near of this equatorial belt, and it is situated in the northward side of this equatorial belt. Because of this, the warm condition is maximally available in those places. Okay, and warm and moist climate is mainly essential factor for the formation of any kind of tropical cyclone. That's why in this warm region we are having maximum amount of tropical cyclones. But why this region is so much warm? Because throughout the whole year it is getting the maximum amount of sunlight. Now we all know that the tropical cyclones are mainly related with the tropical regions, but these are predominant in the areas between 8° to 20° latitudinal line. But why this is happening here? Because the Coriolis force is important for the formation of tropical cyclone, but the effect of the Coriolis force is zero near the equator. So here we have the Northwestern and Northeastern Pacific Ocean. They are in the northward side of this equatorial region. They are warm because they are very near to this equatorial land. Okay. Despite of this warm climatic condition, we are having very less amount of Coriolis effect here. Also, you can say in equator, the Coriolis effect is almost zero. The Coriolis effect is also important for the formation of tropical cyclone. That's why from 0°, that means equatorial region, up to 5° latitudinal line in both the hemisphere, we are having very less amount of tropical cyclones or very weak tropical cyclones. But these tropical cyclones are mainly dominant over 8° up to 20° latitudinal lines. Okay, because from this equatorial line, we are having a constant increase of Coriolis effect up to pole. In pole, we are having the maximum Coriolis effect. Now we will discuss about the Coriolis force. What is it? Because of Earth's rotation, when a moving object deflected from its original path for a specific force, this is the Coriolis force. Okay. Now consider this is a moving object. This is the original path of a particular moving object, but because of a certain force, when this original path is deflected towards another direction, then this force is simply known as Coriolis force. This Coriolis force is also known as deflective force or deflection force, because with the help of this Coriolis force, any kind of moving object can change or deflects its direction from one direction to another direction, but it cannot change the speed of the movement of a specific object, only deflects the direction. This Coriolis force is an effect of our Earth's rotation. Now what is the Earth's rotation? Here we are having our Earth, and this is the axis of our Earth. Now we all know our Earth is constantly moving from west towards east, that is the counterclockwise direction. Okay. Now when our Earth is constantly moving from west towards east along its own axis, then this kinds of Earth's movement is simply known as Earth rotation. Okay. And that's why we are having our Coriolis force. For this Earth's rotation, we are having the time that is 24 hours. Means Earth takes 24 hours to complete one rotation. Next, we will discuss about the direction of this Coriolis-Force effect. It is always working perpendicular to the object's axis. Our Earth rotates from west to east or counterclockwise, so the Coriolis force following the direction from north to south. Okay, so here all of you can see our Earth is rotating from west to east. That's why the effect of this Coriolis force is from the north to south. Here we are having west to east direction of Earth. That's why the effect of Coriolis force is from north to south. Okay. In the equatorial belt, the effect of the Coriolis force is 0 and maximum at poles. But what is the reason behind it? Just have a look here. The rotation speed of Earth at the equator is maximum. So, in the equatorial part, we are having the maximum rotation speed. That's why 0 deflection. Now, take an example here for better understanding. When we are having lots of work, that means we have to do lots of things in a particular time period, then the distraction level of our mind is very less. It means when we have lots of work, then our deflection rate is very less. In that moment, our mind is completely active. That's why distraction is less. In the same way, consider the same pattern here. When the rotation speed of Earth is maximum, in this equatorial belt, the deflection is minimum. Why? Because in the equatorial path, Earth is continuously rotating in a certain speed. That's why the deflection rate is very less. The effect of this mainly depends upon high speed and long distance covered by the object. So, just take an aeroplane here. If a moving aeroplane is continuously moving from a certain place towards another region, then what is the Coriolis effect here? If this is covering a very long distance and with a high speed, then the effect of this Coriolis force is also high. Okay. Now we discussed that the rotation speed of the Earth at the equatorial part is maximum. But why this is happening here? Because here we have the reason. Earth is wider at the equator, almost this kilometers. So to cover this distance within 24 hours, this region have to move faster at a rate of 1600 kilometers per hour, and poles remain in its speed of approximately this kilometers per hour. So what is happening here? We all know that our Earth is complete ellipse, and in this elliptical part, in the middle part, we are having our equator. With the help of this equator, we are having two equal hemispheres, north and south. Okay. Now here we are having poles. This is the north pole and this is the south pole. Here you can easily see that the equatorial part is more wide. Okay. The area coverage is 40,075 kilometers approximately, and in the poles it is a point. That's why in the equatorial region the Earth have to cover the maximum distance, but the rotation speed is 24 hours. So both of this region have to cover the same distance, different distance within 24 hours time. Now just take one example here. Just consider you and me. You as a equatorial belt and I as a pole. Both of us have to cover a certain distance, but the time period is 24 hours. So for both of us the time period is same, 24 hours. But you have to cover 450 kilometers distance and I have to cover 45 kilometers distance. But the time factor is same here. So what we have to do? Specifically what you have to do? to cover this distance within 24 hours? You have to increase your speed, isn't it? It's very simple. Consider the same case here. The equator have to cover larger distance than the poles. That's why the rotation speed in this equatorial part is maximum, and in poles it is minimum. And that's why, because of maximum rotation speed, the Coriolis effect in this part or equatorial part is zero, which is also known as the deflection force. It is zero. Next, we will discuss another important factor of this tropical cyclone. What is it? Relation of trade winds, Coriolis force and tropical cyclone. In this first one, we are having trade winds. Trade winds is the permanently flowing wind from east to west all over the year. Here, from this equatorial belt towards north, we are having Tropic of Cancer. This is 23.5 north. And in the southern part, we are having 23.5 south. This is Tropic of Capricorn. So the entire region is the tropical region. Okay. And in this tropical region, the predominant wind pattern is trade winds. These trade winds are constantly flowing from east towards west. That's why they are the easterlies. Okay. Next is the Coriolis force. Because of the Coriolis force, winds deflects towards east or right in the northern hemisphere and towards west or left in the southern hemisphere. We all know that there is a general wind flow from high pressure to low pressure. So if a specific wind is coming from this high pressure to low pressure region or from northern side, then what is happening here in the northern hemisphere? They are deflecting towards east because of Coriolis force. And we all know that the Coriolis effect is always perpendicular to the object's axis movement. Okay. That's why the direction in the northern hemisphere is northeast. And if any wind is coming from this high pressure to low pressure region in the southern hemisphere, because of Coriolis force, this wind is deflected towards west or left. That's why the wind is coming from southwest. So in the northern hemisphere, wind is deflecting towards east, and in the southern hemisphere, wind is deflecting towards west. Okay. That's why the direction is from northeast, and in the southern hemisphere, this is from the southwest, sorry. Next, we have the tropical cyclones. Winds moving counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. In the northern hemisphere, this is the pattern. Okay. So this is counterclockwise direction. And in the southern hemisphere, we are having this kind of wind pattern. This is the clockwise direction. Now, just consider our home clock or table clock. In the topmost part or northern side, we are having 12. Okay. In the southern side, we are having 6. In the eastern side, we are having 3. And in the western side, we are having 9. Okay. So, our clock is continuously rotating from this side to this side, isn't it? This is the clockwise rotation. Now, relate this one here. In the southern hemisphere, we are having a continuous flow like this. This is the direction. So, this is the clockwise direction, whereas the counterclockwise means west towards east. Our earth is rotating from west to east, that is counterclockwise direction. So here in the northern hemisphere, we are having a direction. This is the direction. This is the counterclockwise direction. Okay. So in the northern hemisphere, tropical cyclone is moving in a counterclockwise direction, and in the southern hemisphere, we are having it in a clockwise direction. I think all of you got it. Next, we will discuss about some types or stages of tropical cyclones. First one, we are having tropical wave. This is the low pressure area in the zone of easterlies. Next one is tropical disturbances, an area of thunderstorms in the tropical region which mainly sustains almost 24 hours or more. Tropical depressions, a tropical cyclone with 61 kilometers per hour or less wind speed. Okay. But when this tropical depression attained a speed of tropical storm, when the wind speed is more than 62 kilometers per hour up to 117 kilometers per hour. And the last stage is hurricanes, typhoons or cyclones. When a particular tropical cyclone attains its wind speed up to 118 km per hour or more. Now, on the basis of several scale, the wind speed may vary. Now we are having some subclassifications of hurricane. Here we are having hurricanes. You can say it or you can use it for any kind of rapid cyclones like typhoons, tropical cyclones for India, etc. Okay. So according to Saffir-Simpson index for storm classification, we are having total 5 subcategories of this hurricane. Just have a look here. Now we learned about lots of things about this tropical cyclones. But now we have to verify this all data or all information with the help of our recent past experience, that is our latest Yas cyclone. Okay. So it was a very severe cyclonic storm. The name was Yas, the center of low pressure for this cyclone was the northeastern part of Bay of Bengal. Now we already learned that warm and moist air is important. That's why over the sea surface and large ocean surface, we are having the maximum amount of tropical cyclone. That's why we are having the center of low pressure over northeastern part of Bay of Bengal. This is a large ocean body, whereas the largest ocean surface of our whole globe is the Pacific Ocean. Next one, we are having the specific name. The name Yas given by Oman. And the meaning of this word Yas came from a Persian language. But in English term, we are having a specific meaning of this. What is this? That is Jasmine. What was the landfall of this region? So what was the landfall of this particular tropical cyclone? Near Dhamra port in Odisha. Odisha is the northeastern state of our Indian subcontinent. Here all of you can see this is the Odisha state. Near Dhamra port in Odisha, we are having landfall for this tropical cyclone. Yes. So what is the meaning of landfall? If you separate the whole word land and fall, then you simply get the idea. What is it? When a specific tropical cyclone after its origination falling over a specific part of land. So when or where this tropical cyclones and the wind of this tropical cyclones hit the land area. This is the landfall area. So near Dhamra port in Odisha, we are having this landfall region. So when our wind of tropical cyclone hit the land area or where this area is situated, this is the landfall region. Next we have the affected areas. We already know that the coastal areas are the mainly affected areas for the tropical cyclones. So mainly parts of Odisha, West Bengal and Jharkhand are mainly affected region for the cyclone Yash. Next is the wind speed. The wind speed was up to 145 kmph. Kmph means kilometer per hour approximately, and during landfall it was 130 to 140 kmph. Okay. So just we learned some subclassifications of hurricanes, typhoons and tropical cyclones, isn't it? So in which category we are for this Yas cyclone? We are in category 1. Why? Just have a look here. Under the subcategories, under category 1, we are having the wind speed in between 119 to 153 kilometers per hour. And for our Yas, the wind speed was 145 kmph maximum. So we can categorize our yes cyclone under this category 1. Okay. The last one is the wind direction. The wind direction of this yes cyclone was northwest. So why northwest? We already know that our Indian subcontinent is located in the northern hemisphere. So if we are in northern hemisphere, then what should be the effect of Coriolis force? If anything is coming from northern part, then because of this Coriolis force, it is shifting towards east. Okay, that's why northeast. Sorry, extremely sorry. Northeast. This is the eastern part. Northeast. And if anything in the northern hemisphere is coming from southern side, then it is the eastern part. Again, because of Coriolis force, this is deflecting towards east. So we are in northern hemisphere. That's why the direction of this cyclone should be in the northwestern side or northeastern side. In the northeastern side specifically, because we are in northern hemisphere, the Coriolis force deflection is towards the eastern side, but we are having a direction towards northwest. Why this is happening here? Because we all know that the Tropic of Cancer line passing through our middle part of the subcontinent. And the southern side of this Tropic of Cancer comes under tropical region. And this tropical region, we are having a predominant wind pattern, that is trade winds. And this trade winds flowing from east towards west. Okay, that's why they are the easterlies. These trade winds are carrying the cyclonic winds towards western subcontinent or towards northwestern side. So because of this trade wind, we are having the direction or wind direction of this yes cyclone towards northwest. I think all of you got the idea, but still anyone is having any confusion, then let me know in the comment section below. That's all for today. Thank you. Thank you for your complete presence.